Good evening and welcome to tonight's show here on DJNTV. I'm John Young and I will be going through the 200 most requested songs in the DJ Event Planner system from the last year. They go through and they compile all the requests that have come in and they put it into this chart. It's the link for that is actually down in the description of this video. No matter if you're watching it on YouTube or if you're watching it out on Facebook, you can find that link down there. Go to the DJ Event Planner link. You won't find it on the front page of the website. You got to go to that link down in the description. But we're going to go through that list. So if you want to jump out there and kind of follow along on that list, you are more than welcome to do that. But we're going to go through and look at it from a wedding DJ perspective. So if you're kind of just starting out or you haven't done a wedding in a while, we're going to go through and kind of look at some of the requested songs. I think work really well. Some of them not so much. And I think there's some that are in there for kind of novelty. And I want to go through and basically do this for those of you who are kind of getting started. If you're an old pro at this, you're going to look at that list and you're going to have your own opinions on it as I am going to share tonight. So, you know, if you're like, oh, I don't agree with you, well, you know what? That's part of life. We may not always agree, but hey, we're going to have a discussion on it. And we got a lot of songs, so that's why we're going to start and get going. We're not going to waste a ton of time tonight because we want to try to get through it all because we have another show coming up here at the in the next. So I think everybody can see the list right here. Looks like it's pretty. You guys can see it pretty well. So we're going to kind of take off from there. So I'm going to get my chat window. I want to move that into position. Hey, Howie, thanks for joining me this evening here. And Howie, of course, will be coming up at 10 o'clock Eastern tonight, djntv.com/chill. They'll put the links will be in the descriptions of our videos tonight. So we're going to start, we're going to basically count down 1 through 200. Now, that link, if you continue down, I'm just going to scroll down. That's the 200. Then they go into the most requested songs from decades, the 2010s, the 2000s, and so on. There's some good discussion in some of those other decades. And I think what I might do with those is we're probably going to invite a guest and we're going to come in and we're going to debate specifically the 80s versus the 90s. That's a discussion we're going to have at a different time. But I think there's some things for, especially someone who's just kind of starting out in this world, in the DJ, the wedding market, there's some discussion I think we need to have in that arena. So let's kind of start it out. First off, the number one requested or most requested song is Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody. That's an interesting take for me in the upper Midwest. While it does work sometimes, it hasn't been like the banger. You know, you'd figure that number one song is going to be just a huge banger. In some markets, it does much better than it does in our market here. And I think it's come back. You know, for the longest time, it was like completely off radar, but I think it has come back in the last number of years. I don't know if I would put this in a position of a banger. I know some DJs who use this to start out the night. I've seen it used for wedding party dances. This is one I would kind of, depending upon your area, kind of feel this one out. I wouldn't feel confident that this is going to be a banger each and every time. Number 2, September from Earthone and Fire. Now this is getting into more of a banger song, I feel, more universally. It really goes over pretty well. It may not have the same energy as I Want to Dance with Somebody, but I think it does pretty well. So definitely September, a little bit older song coming to you. We go from the 80s, we jump back into the a little bit older. I think it came a few years, probably 5 years or 6 years before. Continuing to go back in time, Neil Diamond's Sweet Caroline at number 3, sing-along song. Very popular pretty much everywhere. Everybody knows the dot, dot, dot thing, and they sing along to it. Bars, young people, old people, everybody does. Another banger that's been around for quite a while is Uptown Funk. Now, this is a newer song. You're getting into the last 10 years, but it's become that kind of a banger as is Usher's. Usher's Yeah is a little bit older. If you compare the lyrics between Uptown Funk and that, it can be a little bit, I don't want to say sketchy, but it might be a little more sexually explicit to some point. So that's something I don't play early in the night. I'd play Uptown Funk early in the night if I wanted, hook a crowd, but probably not so much. But it still works wonderfully. I mean, played it Saturday night again, and people absolutely loved it. Walk the Moon at number 6 with Shut Up and Dance. I think this is one of those earlier in the night because it has that wide age appeal. The kids usually, I've got younger kids at the weddings who are requesting it, and you can kind of do that to play a newer song for a variety of ages. So that's a great song. I don't think it works as well later in the night, but I could be wrong with that one. Well, most of the time I played it earlier. Journey's Don't Stop Believin' is another crowd favorite, kind of a sing-along song. It's not slow, it's not fast, but it's that everybody knows it's sing-along song, kind of like Piano Man, and we'll see that probably later in the list here tonight. Number 8, Mr. Brightside from the Killers. We're getting into kind of 90s sing-along type songs. That's where this one comes in. Does it work all the time? Is it a banger you can play every time? I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong on that one, and if you guys have success with it, time share. It's a good song, no question about it. It's upbeat and it does its thing. I just don't know if it's something that would be a floor filler. It might be one that you could play in a set, but it's not. I don't think it's a floor filler. Dancing Queen from ABBA at number 9. The disco song can go over really quite well. Has a wide age appeal. I never found it to be a huge banger. It does well. It's never been one that would pull people on the floor. It would keep people on the floor, I felt, but I never felt it was the hook at the beginning of the set to get people on the floor. It was the one that they'd be like, oh yeah, I love this song, and they'd stay, but I never had a really great responsive pulling people. First line dance type song shows up at number 10 with Cupid Shuffle. It's a hook. It can pull people in. You can come out of a variety of things with it. It's a great tune. It would be one of your big bangers for surely. Number 11, we're coming up to Black Eyed Peas with I Got a Feeling. I think it's here because it was used for introduction of wedding parties. That's still it's very high on that list. When you scroll down this page, you'll see the introduction of wedding party songs, and it's very high on that. It's still a great song, and it has a great kind of a dance feel. I think this is one of those songs you've got to find the right version that you get comfortable with, because you can play a variety of versions, and some have got the long intro and you can do some things with it. I think you got to find the one that works for you, and the one that you can be, that your energy is like right there when you play it, so that the crowd will see that you're ready to go and you're jumping up and down and you're all excited when you play it. That helps sell the version that you happen to pick and you feel most comfortable with. 12, Cha Cha Slide from Casper. Oldie but goodie, another line dance type song, and that would be my order. The Cupid would be my first choice. Cha Cha would be my second one. At 13, Flo Rida Low. It's probably one of those songs that is almost universally playable. The song is a upbeat club song type of situation. Grandma knows it, the kids know it, and they have a great time with it. So that's definitely one of your big bangers out there. Bon Jovi, number 14, Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer. This I think is well accepted, and it's people know it here. I don't think it's a banger that would bring people out in our market in the upper Midwest. Could be wrong. I think in other markets, it's going to be a big one that's going to pull people, and it could be the hook on a 3-song set. Here, it would be probably my second song in a set, or if they weren't dancing and I wanted them to drift back, that might be where I put that one. Excuse me there. 15 Spice Girls Wannabe has been a huge request over the last 3 years. It's become a big banger once again, and that 90s stuff is really hot. Outcast 16, Outcast, the Hey Yeah. I've never had a ton of success with it. It's a good song. It's an upbeat song, and put in the right spot, this might be one of those songs that you play part of it. Now, the part is tough because there's people who like that Polaroid picture part. You got to kind of figure out what's going to work for you and how you set it up, what you lead into it, and what you come out of it with to be the most successful. VIC with the Wobble at number 17. Wobble still goes over really quite well. It's a very long song. And this is one that I've tried to cut at different times, specifically at high schools, because there's, I want to keep moving and do the different things. And I've had kids that are like, oh, we want to do the whole thing. We want to do this dance from beginning to end. Another line dance that they do to it, and they have fun with it and, look like zombies, whatever. But that's a good tune. Will it go over at every event? I don't think so. There's some that this is for the line dance one is probably so far the least, I don't want to say least acceptable, but it would be the least known of that because a lot of people will know the other two, but this one might be a little, a lot of people may not know that. Justin Timberlake's Can't Stop the Feeling. Good tune, family tune. You can play it early in the night as maybe a second song in a set or the last song in a set before you're going to change things up. Not that it's your best song in the set, but it might be the throwaway song. For the people who like that, they would be like, oh, yeah, it's great. Or it might be one in another throwaway spot, but yet it's a good tune that some people really do enjoy. Garth Brooks at number 19 with Friends in Low Places. Our first country song that hit the charts. This is one where people, I think, request it. I don't want to say as a joke, but kind of more as a novelty song because they, are going to send it out to my buds here that are going to be with me tonight. I think that's where this one fits in more. Friends in Low Places. Yes, they'll get together. Yes, they'll sing it. And some people use it for a close at the wedding. I've had weddings requested for that. Good tune. I've also had it where we've played a live version because they wanted to have that extra little verse that they do live or that Garth does live. So good tune there. Number 20, Beyonce and Jay-Z with Crazy in Love. In our area, Beyonce and Destiny's Child stuff just hasn't been a real big floor filler. In a set, it can work, but it's not the hook typically. Crazy in Love's a great tune. And it would be a good spot, in that set to use. But I don't know if it would be that pull them out on the floor. In contrast to number 21, Miley Cyrus, Party in the USA, with that guitar that starts it out, that goes over really quite well, and that becomes that first hook song for a lot of the audiences. Wide crowd appeal yet. People do like that song. 22, Get Low from Little John and East Side Boys. Good tune. Obviously, there's going to be some sketchy lyrics in it. If you're playing the unedited version, you're going to be having problems at your wedding, most likely. You get an edited version, they're going to sing. Some people will sing the other lyrics, so be it. Great party tune. It's a later in the night type of party tune, and that's generally when people really enjoy, from their windows to the walls and the whole 10 yards there. But it's a great tune, and it still goes over very, very well. Backstreet Boys, Everybody from Backstreet's Back. The other song, and we'll talk about that. This is a good tune, and we actually had a dance that we taught to this with our audiences. Good tune, and it fits into that 90s boy band thing. But the other one is the one I think is our hidden gem, and we'll talk about that later. 24, Bruno Mars, 24K Magic. You've got a couple of them here. You've got 25, Bruno Mars with Marry You. Marry You, I think, has been used more as a recessional. I think it could be used for wedding party type of thing. That's where I think why it makes it so high on the list. 24K Magic is one of those kind of I want to throw a song out that people aren't ready to dance, but I want to show them I can play newer music. This is the one I think I would use instead of burning up Uptown Funk. This one, I played it early like that, and it has pulled people out, or it's had people kind of bebopping and dancing in their chairs. It can fit into that spot. 26, Brown Eyed Girl. Brown Eyed Girl is one of those songs that is a classic from the 60s. What's kind of cool about that is you play Brown Eyed Girl, and generally you'll have someone come up and request Cecilia, because that's always been, those two songs seem to be common DJ groupings. Van Morrison's Brown Eyed Girl. Elvis Presley, Can't Help Falling in Love. Classic slow tune, very from the 50s coming to you there. There's a lot of different versions of Can't Help Falling in Love that have been requested. Some people love the song, but they want to have a different version of it, not an Elvis, someone else doing the cover. I think I probably have 25 different versions of Can't Help Falling in Love, but I'm sure I don't have all of them. But it's a great tune. Good slow song if you have an older crowd. If you've got a younger crowd, maybe looking at one of the newer releases might be a better option for you for that song. Another slow song that was like number 1 or number 2 on the First Dance was Perfect from Ed Sheeran at 28. Just a great slow dance tune, and it's been holding very well. 29, Chris Stapleton, Tennessee Whiskey, is getting into a country tune that it's kind of a slow dance. They slow dance to it on Saturday night. It's just a kind of a great sing-along type song, but yet they don't know the words completely yet on that one. So it's a great tune. If you had never listened to it, definitely give it a listen. It's one of the few newer country songs that I'll play without it being requested and setting it up properly for the type of song it is. Despacito coming in at number 30. Now, this year's list is going to have a little bit more Latin influence, especially as we're going down the list. Despacito is one that was kind of a crossover where it was getting airplay on all the charts for quite a while. There's a couple of different versions of it. It's still high on the charts. I really wonder if it's still going to be something that people are going to be requesting this year, but it's a great tune, and a lot of people knew that one. Let's see. I want to make sure. Okay, there we go. 31, we got Love Shack from the B-52s. Lots of versions of it. Find one that you like. The album version's about 4 minutes long. That's the one I prefer. Some people like the quick edit of it. There's a lot of versions of it. Get one that works for you. And once again, it's one of those that I've been to events where DJs have played other one. If they're excited and they're into it, you just follow along. Otherwise, if they're not, and it's like, okay, well, here's a weird, unusual, break in a song that I don't remember being there, or it's got a weird this, that, or the other thing. That's one of those songs that you can go in there. Everybody knows it, kind of like Mickey. I think we'll be getting to Mickey here at some point in time. People know it. It's just that they may not know exactly when the verse and things are going to go into, and that's where that energy of the DJ comes in. 33, AC/DC's You Shook Me All Night Long. One of those songs that in the last half hour of a dance, I really can't get away with. If I haven't played it by then, I'll have somebody requesting it. Can you play that before you're done? That's great. That's one of those bangers at the end of the night for us here. Top Loaders, Dancing in Moonlight, came on, as in the movies. It's been in a couple of different places like that. Great tune. It's not a real fast song. It's kind of a groovy little tune. If you've not listened to it, check it out. I think the place for this, I use it in that late cocktail as I'm trying to transition into the dance. I want people to be kind of bebopping a little bit. It works wonderfully for that. This would actually be one of those songs that if I danced them really hard and I want to take a kind of a weird little change up, this could be one of those kind of left turn songs late at night, just before I set up that last set where I want them to have that really cool experience and then to come back with something. Rihanna and Calvin Harris with We Found Love, upbeat tune, upbeat dance type tune. It doesn't work for me. I've tried it at a few events over the last couple of years. I don't have success with it. Others probably do wonderfully with it, but it hasn't worked for me. Dexy's Midnight Runners with Come On Eileen's an 80s kind of another one-hit wonder band from the 80s. Good tune. It's one of those songs that I play part. I very seldom have played the whole thing, because you get into it and then you get into that latter part of it where it kind of slows down and then they start to build up their speed and they do that. I've lost people when it slows down, especially the younger generation. They just don't stick with it. So that would be one. You can definitely play it in an 80s set. It's just I think you need to set it up and play it to the best for your crowd. 37, Shania Twain, Man, I Feel Like a Woman. Classic country song from the early 90s. Great tune. Goes over early Saturday night. That one filled the dance floor. So I would not be afraid of using that as your hook on your first country set. That's where I use it at weddings. It's generally in that position. And it's still, I'm doing it for a lot of years, and it still works and works really, really well. Dua Lipa and DaBaby with Levitating. That's obviously a newer song. That's the newest song so far. I think that's hit the charts. Good tune, dance set. How you'd use it, I would use that in something if I were mixing and wanting to have kind of a club feel for a period of time. That's where I would put that in. I'd probably do it later in the evening. I don't know if I'd do it in the first 2 hours of a wedding. Taylor Swift at number 39 with Shake It Off. Upbeat song, still goes over really, really well. Saturday night, it was the screaming along from adult women as they sang along to it. So still some staying power, and I would still put that as a banger. 40, Montel Jordan, This Is How We Do It. With the right crowd, they will do it and do it well. For our upper Midwest crowds, it's hit and miss. Sometimes it scores, sometimes it doesn't. It's not. I don't view it here as a hook at the beginning of that set. I think it might be something that could be put into a point, maybe mid to late of the night. I would have to set it up properly with a song to get into it. It's possible, but I just doesn't. It's not a go-to for me. Let's see. We're up to 41. Frank Sinatra with The Way You Look Tonight. Kind of a slower classic song. It's one of my favorite older slow dance songs, and it's not really a complete slow dance. It's kind of a slow dance. It definitely. Hey, Howie, there's a couple of people putting comments in there that VOM. Can you go and block that person, please? Anybody who's doing that kind of stuff, those are basically spammers. So just block them from the channel. I think you've got that capability. So Sinatra, that's a great tune, and it appeals to the 60 and above crowd pretty well. And probably 70s and above crowd now, 70-year-olds and above. Beatles Twist and Shout at 42. Beatles stuff is going to be hot. I think there's going to be more Beatles stuff used this summer because of this past winter, having the Beatles show on. Check that out if you got the Apple Plus. Twist and Shout's upbeat came from, was used in Ferris Bueller. That introduced it to a generation of people. Then with Apple Plus and that, it's going to be to a new generation. So I think that's going to have some staying power for the year, and a couple of other Beatles tunes. Hot in Here from Nelly. I think this is one of those songs that is kind of like Friends in Low Places. People on paper think this is going to be a great song to play because it's going to be in the middle of summer. Our wedding is going to be so hot. We want to play that Hot in Here. I've had that actual discussion with a number of couples over the years, and when we play it, and it's been kind of fizzled. I mean, it's like, okay, we set it up and we did, and the room is hot and everybody's doing everything, and then we play it, and then the crowd just kind of dissipates. It's like, well, okay, that was just uneventful. I think in the right situation and maybe in a different area, it would work better than it does here, but then you get into that one night, and it just goes crazy. Hot in Here from Nelly at 43. Chris Brown's Forever, that was a big thing for introductions of wedding, and I think that's why it's as high as it is. I have played it during the dance. I've had a few requested times. You haven't requested. I just haven't had a ton of success with it, but for introductions, it worked really quite well. LMFAO with Party Rock Anthem at 45 is a great little tune, still upbeat, the 130 beat per minute. A lot of people still are playing that. I haven't played it that much recently. Probably it's been a couple of years since I played it. Obviously I made the list, so it's still there. Temptations, My Girl, slower song. It's there because of Father-Daughter is where that one would most likely be used. We Are Family, Sister Sledge is one of those things. We're at a wedding and we're all family and we're going to play it. And sometimes it works and it works really well. And sometimes it's a turd in the pool. So that's a tough one. If I've got a crowd that's, likes their disco and things, that helps tremendously. If I have a family that like each other, that helps big. You've been to weddings where the family really doesn't like each other, but they're there. If you've got that wedding, don't play that song. Ed Sheeran, Thinking Out Loud, another slow song, great ballad, and it's up there at 48. It's also on that first dance list. Maroon 5, Sugar, good tune. It's not a banger, I don't think, but it's a good tune, and you could put it in there somewhere. Kesha's Timber with Pitbull, good tune, upbeat tune. It's that dance type song that's in that 130 beat per minute world. Cardi B, I Like It. It's first Cardi B song that's there. It's a good tune. Later in the night type of a tune. Is it going to be for every crowd? No, but it's going to actually appeal to a lot of crowds under the age of 25, maybe on even possibly under 30. 52, Sir Mix-a-Lot, Baby Got Back. It's interesting because of it not being played as much as it used to be, is that some of the younger audiences don't really know too much about it. So it's the 50 to about 30 to 50-year-olds who really are into it, maybe 25-year-olds on up. Baby Got Back, of course, was a big banger for us for a number of years, and I think in some areas it probably still is, in some areas not so much. NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye, 90s band, 90s boy band. It fits the category for that. It's a can be kind of a sing along thing, and people have done their little arm actions to it. How much you play of that could be the question. Toto Africa had its big comeback when Weezer did it, and there was a lot of that. So I think it's still on there. It's a great late cocktail. I have had a couple of times where they wanted it in the last half hour because they wanted to sing along at the top of their lungs. If you're doing video, this is a great time to have the lyrics available for people to see the lyrics. Old Crow Medicine Show with Wagon Wheel. This kind of made a comeback with Darius Rucker doing his version of it. Wagon Wheel is a good old country song, and they're very similar, so it's not like there's a huge difference between the two. But I think that's why that Wagon Wheel has made a comeback there. John Legend with All of Me at 56, good slow song. It's used that way. 57, Daryl Hall and John O, To Make My Dreams Come True. Great 80s tune to maybe come out of a slow song and to set up an 80s set. Poured Some Sugar on Me, you're getting into some 80s rock right there. Late 80s rock, came out in around that 87 time frame. It'll appeal to that probably 35 to 55-year-old range. Here we're getting into some of our Latin music with Don Omar featuring Lucino, and it's Danza Kuduro. I'm probably butchering this, but at number 59, we're getting into our first Latin song. I don't do Latin music, and it just isn't a call from mine. When I've done a couple of events, I've heard of all these songs being requested at different events, but it's not something that I do, and there's others who would speak much better to that. 60 Girls Just Want to Have Fun, classic 80s song from Cyndi Lauper, used many a times for the bouquet toss. Stevie Wonder, Signed, Sealed, and Delivered is kind of one of my favorite Stevie Wonder songs, and it's mainly because it was played in Vegas. When we go down and be on Fremont Street, it's played there, and it's always just kind of brings me back to that time. So early in the night, this would be when I'd play for an older crowd. House of Pain, Jump Around is a quick bang. It's a very fast, short song. It can be played early or in an early night, but earlier in the evening when you still have some of the family. There is a little profanity in it, so make sure you have a clean version of it. I think it's profanity, or is a video? So anyway, there was an explicit something on that one. Could be the video. Great little tune though, to get if you want to take that energy and you want to go just kind of make it go crazy and then switch up. Bohemian Rhapsody, 63 from Queen, is a sing-along type song. At the right time, it works really well, and there's times where it could be a flop. 64, this is the one, Backstreet Boys, I wanted to talk a little bit about. I Want It That Way. I think it's going to be a hidden gem for 2022. In 2021, I played that as a kind of a sing-along song, and it's amazing how many people that are in that 30 to 40, and even younger than that, who knew all the lyrics to it. I felt that this was going to be a sing-along that could really do some things. So this is another song that I've taken. I put together a lyric video for it that would highlight like a karaoke version and put it all together. So you have the album version of the song with the words. This has gone over absolutely just incredible. And it's created some moments at some events where people have been singing and having this fun and they're doing these things. And they're creating memories and taking pictures and such. And people are like, oh my gosh, that was so much fun. I think this is going to be a hidden gem, and it might be one that moves up the list or should be higher on the list. Timing, later in the night. Lizzo, Truth Hurts still is going very, very well. People have had some fun with that. How much staying power it's going to have? It'll probably be good, I think, for this year. I don't know if it will continue on, 24 and beyond type of thing. Mambo number 5. This has always been an interesting one to me at number 66. I like the song. It's a good little tune, but I've had it flop and then I've had it go crazy. I think this is one that it has to be requested. So if they request it, it's probably going to do pretty well. Shout from the Animal House soundtrack. There's a couple of versions of Shout. Make sure you're playing the proper one. And then obviously this is the one off the Animal House soundtrack. But there's a couple of different versions of Shout, and if you play the wrong one at the wrong crowd or to the wrong crowd, they're going to be very upset with you because it's like, we want the other one. Jack Johnson, Better Together, good tune. I enjoy that tune. I think it's probably used more as a specialty dance than it is for just a play. But Jack Johnson's just a really great singer and performer. Getting back to country, Beautiful Crazy, another good country tune, not super fast, but a solid tune. We don't do as much country as we used to. We used to be a kind of a 50-50 split. It's not that anymore. And you kind of see it reflected in the requests here is that there's a few chosen, but there are not a ton of them. Blinding Light from The Weeknd at 70 stayed on the charts for like 2 years. It just fell off the charts, actually. The top 40, I believe it was top 40. Anyway, it just fell off the top charts just a couple of months ago. It had been on since like 2019, so it went through all of 2020, almost all of 2021 type of thing. Almost 2 years on the charts, high on the charts. It fell out, I think, about the time Drake released 20 songs in one week. So good tune. A lot of people know it. A lot of people really like it. I wish it just wasn't as, it's not quite as fast enough for this and not quite slow enough. It's just kind of a good tune. Single Ladies, I think, is used for the bouquet toss. That's where that goes up so high. And of my Beyonce songs, that one is the one, if I were going to play a song for just playing to get them to dance, that would be my go-to. Sweet Home Alabama for the right crowd with the kind of a redneckish feel. This would be that southern country, southern rock. It's not a fast, it's not a slow. It's kind of a sing-along. Bon Jovi, Lay Your Hands on Me. That's a good tune. I like that song. I'm seeing some of the chats, by the way, as they scroll up here. Let's see. Ain't No Mountain High Enough from Diana Ross. I think that's kind of an earlier in the night song, appealing to that older crowd. It's not one that I have played probably more than 3 times in 30 years of DJing. It just hasn't been a big thing. Pharrell Williams with Happy. Some people, this is their leadoff song. September was a leadoff song, and we're going to see Celebrations leadoff song, and we're going to see another one down here in just a bit. These are some of the songs that that Spotlight dances over. This is where we go to, and Happy has been one that's been mentioned many a times. YMCA, still some people hate it, but yet there's people in a crowd who absolutely love it. They think it's just a great tune. So it's a crowd participation song. It's sometimes you're going to have people leave the floor because of it, and you're going to have times where the families, like, come on kids, let's go out there, for younger kids. There are families who only get out to weddings once or twice a year, if that. They don't go anywhere else to dance, and this is their time to hear the YMCA. Beyonce, Love on Top, another Beyonce song. Again, same situation. I don't get a lot of success. Bryan Adams, Summer of '69. It's an 80s tune, works really well. It could be the hook of an 80s set because it has that guitar start. Probably not my favorite 80s tune for that. It does get played, but it's usually played like in a latter 80s set. It's not my original or early night 80s set. Billie Jean from Michael Jackson at 78. Great tune. Great beat, and people dance to this. They can go do their Michael, they'll make the circle and do Michael Jackson type dance moves, and it works pretty well. Mid part of the night usually. Dynamite from Teo Cruz, still a good, still it's an older song. It's, goodness gracious, that's got to be reaching over 15, 16, 17 years old, I think, somewhere in that ballpark. Anyway, it's over 10 years old. I think this is one of those songs you've got to go and you get into it and you get out of it. You don't play the whole song. Raise Your Glass from Pink. I think this is one where it's kind of like Friends in Low Places was, where it's we're going to play the song and raise our glass. I think there's that happens sometimes with weddings where people are making requests based on those ideas that this is going to be, this will be a great song for us to do for toasts by. No, it's not. It's a good tune, and it can be played in that dance set, no question about it. Pitbull, any Pitbull song's like 130 beat per minute, and Fireball, great tune. I didn't play it until a few years back when people were, a couple of years back when people said, you should try it. Yeah, great tune. It goes over at high schools. It goes over at weddings. Play That Funky Music from Wild Cherry at 82. Good tune, kind of getting you into that disco era, although it was towards the latter part of the disco era. Stand By Me, Benny King, great classic slow song. Not a super, super, super slow song, but it's kind of that's kind of a slower song, and it's got that sing-along feel, and it's kind of that group hug feel. Great tune. I would definitely recommend that. That one can actually be all the way to the end of the night. Can be early, could be in the middle, it could be at the end. Sometimes at the end, it's that great crowd group hug type song. Shakira, Hips Don't Lie would be kind of in that middle to the latter part of the night when you're looking for that kind of upbeat dancing type feel. Kool and the Gang, Celebration is on that list because I think that it's used as a kickoff song for a lot of people. You know, here we are at a wedding and it's celebration. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I think that's what that is, why that makes it. I play it. And people, either if I don't play it, people will request it. So you got to do it. Let's see. Whitney Houston, Steve Winwood, and Kygo with Higher Love. Remake there, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. That one I didn't even listen to. I've never played it. I've heard people mention it, but I've never played it. Huh. And I didn't. There's 3 songs in here that I wasn't sure about, so I had to listen to them myself. You Make Me Feel from Cobra Starship is a song that I used to play a lot, and I liked that song, and I liked playing that one. It always was just kind of cool. I just can't get it to go. It doesn't go over for me. Like the tune though. Cotton Eye Joe, in our area, that's a line dance. There's the line dance they do to it. Whether it's at a high school or whether it's at a wedding, there's a dance that they're going to do to it. And then of course there's the old Cotton Eye Joe, the one that was a schottish. This isn't that. This is a completely different line dance. Still goes over really well, 130 beat per minute type of thing, and you can wrap up a country set with that and then go into dance if you want to. Don't Stop Me Now for Queen. Queen stuff, because of the movie a couple of years ago, it still does pretty well. People know most of it. Don't Stop Me Now is kind of a fun song to make that's been played a lot in the adult contemporary charts. R. Kelly, Ignition. Good tune, not one I would play just because that's probably not going to do really well on my dance floor. It might give me a little bit of the song, but I'm not going to do the whole thing for sure. Turn Down from What's a Song that I like to use about that much of it. And I like to use that, drop it in at just the right time, change songs, and boom, out really quick. It's great for that. Some people have played more of it and have had success. I've never, basically after it's down through the thing and then they get bored of it really fairly quickly, I've found. 92, Zac Brown Band, Chicken Fried. It's a sing-along type song. It's not that fast. It's not slow enough to really be a romantic slow dance at all, as far as I'm concerned, but it's there. Etta James, At Last, is that romantic slow song, and it's also high on the first dance charts. Natalie Cole, This Will Be an Everlasting Love. Good tune. Where you'd put that, if you've got that maybe a little bit older crowd, that would probably maybe be that early third of the night. Old Town Road, I think that one's kind of gone to the side. I don't know if that's going to be anything that will have much staying power in 2022. It might have had a little bit last year, but I think that Little Nas X is, I don't want to say worn out the welcome, but it might be getting that feel a little bit. So that would be when I would proceed a little bit with caution and have that conversation a little bit. Thomas Rhett, Country, Die a Happy Man. I think that's kind of the wedding theme, that they, he's married now, he can die a happy man. I've heard that actual statement made. That could be why it's on the charts. It's a good tune, don't get me wrong. But 97, Build Me Up Buttercup was actually a big request on Saturday night. Good tune. It's getting back into that old, and it was used in a couple of movies, but most of those movies are probably old enough now where I'll remember it, and maybe their parents will remember it, but the kids maybe won't remember there's something about Mary. Good tune, though. Gold Digger from Kanye West. This is one it's a little head scratcher for me. It's a good tune, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if it's a great one for a wedding where, she's a gold digger. So I'm thinking this is one of those subliminal message ones, kind of like some of the other songs we've talked about. I think that's where this is coming in. Good tune, but I wouldn't play it without it being requested because it would be making an inference with the couple. Staying Alive, I think, is still a big banger, one that could be played in that disco set. And that could be way up higher. That would be one of my early disco songs because I want to basically, in that first hour and a half, I want to hit a lot of my bangers to basically get people out there, get them moving, and then later we can be kind of moving bangers and spreading things around a little bit more. Sexy Back from Justin Timberlake, good tune. It just has never worked super well for me. I like it, but it's I don't know, maybe I play too much of it or I've done something, whatever. I would need to find a better way to utilize it. Just Dance from Lady Gaga, good tune, upbeat tune, and I've used it on occasion, but not too terribly often. 102, Eric Clapton's Wonderful Tonight, classic slow song, Generations, wonderful, goes over well. I've had the time of my life at 103 is probably the most used closing song of the night, where they've had the time of their life, and it's not slow, and it goes fast, and it changes tempo, and it's like, yeah, just kind of weird. Time of Our Lives from Pitbull, I think it's going to be a similar, except it's just an upbeat version. Give Me Everything, you're kind of in that same arena of that latter part of the night. DJ's Got Us Fall in Love would be kind of that latter time of the night. Don't Stop Till You Get Enough would probably be earlier, as opposed to using Billie Jean. If you didn't like the lyrics of Billie Jean and you felt uncomfortable with that, you might play Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. Lady Gaga, Speechless. Gonna start moving through these a little bit faster. Great tune. Jesse's Girl is I would put that as a hook, because you can come out of a slow song and then you get that guitar at the beginning of that one to set that up. Macarena has been making a comeback. Every event I did this year, that was requested. Sometimes multiple times. There's obviously a couple of versions out there. There's a newer one, and there's the original. I've had people asking for the original. He did not want the original. And I've talked to DJs who are like, oh, I only played the new one. So, In the Club from 50 Cent. Good tune. I just don't know if it really works as well. I think in a mix, it would work wonderfully. Neo, Closer. Good tune. I really like that song. It's actually one of my personal faves. Would it work? Maybe again in a mix. Moves Like Jagger, it's a good tune. It had some legs. I think that this one we might see this more in about 5 years, when the generation that was in school when that came out, when they're getting more into the married world. I think we might see more of that one coming through. Shots from. I think this might be another one of those little message songs. Oh, yeah, we're all going to... It's been on a couple of my weddings, and they wanted to play it late at night. And unfortunately, by the time they were ready for me to play it, there were like 10 people left. Because they had danced, and it was cold, or it was whatever, or hot. Crazy Little Thing Called Love, Queen, good tune. Here's Billy Joel's Piano Man. One thing with this, if you are doing a show, and all of a sudden the guys all get in a circle, and then all of a sudden you see their pants around their ankles. Yes, they keep their undergarments on, but their pants are around their ankles. That started in St. John's, Minnesota, or down at St. Joe, Minnesota, at the St. John's University, the college over there. That's where it started years and years ago. And they do this at the end of the night. So if you get a couple that say, hey, I want to do this thing with Piano Man at the end, and the guys are going to make the circle, and you're like, yeah, that started up in Minnesota, didn't it? That's right. Down the road here from me, just a little bit. Christina Perri, 1,000 Years. Love that song. Nice, slow song. The Get Up from Blanco Brown. Maybe someday I'll find a group that has known how to do most of it, or any of it, or part of it. I haven't found that group yet. I've had many of them requested, because the kids love it, and they've done it like 2 moves, and then there's just so much there that it's been almost too much. It was like some of those things we had. There was a pizza dance back when we were younger, and you've never heard of it, I'm sure. The pizza dance is because it wasn't that, and this could be the next pizza dance. It was a good idea for about 30 seconds. Nat King Cole, a classic with Love. Blurred Lines. Good tune. I like this. It was 2000, whatever it was, where we were in Atlantic City, and we heard this all the time. I like the tune. Obviously, there was problems with Robin Thicke afterwards, and then there was this whole thing about licensing and things. And then, of course, the message is kind of creepy. So, with that, it is a good tune. I just don't know if I'd play it at a wedding unless it was requested. James Taylor, How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You, is kind of that earlier in the night, if you're going to use it, maybe even a late cocktail time song. It might be something that people are using for an introduction, or I don't know where they're using it exactly, but it's a good tune. It's just not danceable. DNCE, Cake by the Ocean. Great tune, upbeat, fun, and it seems, but then there's what does Cake by the Ocean mean? For some people, that's a huge hang up. It's not they're not eating cake, they're not eating Twinkies by the water. That's not what that means. But it is a good tune, so it's just unfortunate that that there has to be a second meaning there. A Country Girl, Shake It For Me is a country song. It's one of them that I will play probably later in the night. Good, somewhat upbeat country tune. Just the Way You Are from Bruno Mars is, I think, used as a specialty dance. That's why it's on the list. It's not really, it's not super slow, but it's not super fast either. It's not I think it's used in some other application. Vanilla Ice, Ice Ice Baby, great early 80s, or in the 80s, kind of a rap song. You guys all know it. It can go. Sometimes I will cut that. I have different cue points set where I could get out of it and get into different songs depending upon what song I'm going into. That's been one. Sometimes it plays all the way through. Sometimes we get out of it. Blink-182, All the Small Things. You're getting into that 90s rock world. Good tune. I enjoy the couple of songs from Blink-182 we used to play all the time. I think, again, that the 90s and some of those, the 90s and that early 2000s, we're going to start to see more of those hitting our dance floor. And that would be one that's probably going to be a hidden gem for us. Marry Me Train, I think, is being used as a recessional, probably somewhere in the wedding. Maybe not so much on the dance floor. Blackstreet No Diggity is somewhat of a sing-along song, but it's coming out of that same era, the same group, that same time frame where people are kind of reflecting back to, oh, what are the songs that were really popular when we were in junior high? That's where I think we're coming into that. Fly Me to the Moon, older tune. I think it's not the greatest one, I think, from that era, but it's a good tune. It could be played for that older crowd. All Star from Smash Mouth had, of course, it was in Shrek, so a lot of people knew it from that. Good song. Could be played earlier in the evening. Sweet Child of Mine, Guns N' Roses, fun song. For me, that's like I've danced them to the end, and this is like a could be one more type of a song. Avicii Levels, upbeat song, kind of a clubby song. Genuine Pony is kind of a kind of has that kind of a smooth, sexy beat with that one. That would be a later in the night one. You Are the Best Thing. Boy, if that doesn't sound from Les Montagnes, if that doesn't sound like something from the 60s, if you haven't heard it, listen to the song. It's a great tune, but that's in my cocktail set. It's not something I would put into my dance. Return to the Mac from Mark Morrison. Some people really do well with that song. I don't. I've never had it successful. I actually just completely dumped it. Bob Seger, Old Time Rock and Roll, still works really well up here. Lizzo, Good as Hell. If I need to go another Lizzo, there's my second one. My first one is going to be Truth Hurts, and I may never get back to Lizzo. I'm Yours, Jason Moran's slow song, good tune. Another 80s here at 139. Take on Me. Good tune at a lot of the music videos. What a lot of people remember that. I Don't Want to Miss the Things. Generally a closing type slow song, and that kind of fits that big crescendo at the end of the night. And there we go. In 141, we get into Elvis Crespo, I believe it is. Latin song. I know this particular one I've had requested numerous times over the years, and I have played it and such. I couldn't tell you anything more about it than that. 142 is another Latin song. 143, What a Wonderful World, a great old slower song. This would be one of my earlier sets. Probably Can't Help Falling in Love, and then What a Wonderful World. 44, Salt and Pepper, Push It. There's our 90s rap, getting into that, kind of transitioning from the 80s to the 90s. That would fit in that. Can't Take My Eyes Off You from Frankie Valli is an older tune that would fit into that 50s, 60s, kind of getting out of the 60s and moving on. Rick Roll, people still are wanting to do that, and they did Saturday night. They requested it, and I had to send it out to someone. Rick Astley is Never Gonna Give You Up at 146. Big and Rich, Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy. Country song, upbeat. It can be the because of the way it starts out with the dun 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 or whatever. It could be the hook and the start of that country set, and works really quite well. Drake One Dance. Drake stuff hasn't worked at my weddings, but if I needed to play a Drake, this would certainly be it. Proclaimers, I'm Going to Be 500 Miles. It's like you can play a section of it, but I think the song, they can kind of die out on that one. But if you got a 90s crowd, it's a great tune for that. Nicki Minaj, Starships. I like this tune from Nicki. I've got a clean version that I do, and then I have the lyrics that go up, and I've cleaned up the lyrics also up on a screen. Great tune, a lot of energy. Brick House, I think, is another start the night out type from the Commodores. Is the kicking off the night. We're going to do Celebration. We're going to do Brick House. We're going to do something like that. And I think that's where a lot of DJs have played it, and people just kind of think of that. Okay, we're going to kick off our party. One More Time from Daft Punk, upbeat tune. I wouldn't play it. Feel So Close from Calvin Harris, another kind of upbeat tune. I wouldn't play it unless requested. Oasis, Wonderwall, a little bit slower song. Kind of getting back into that earlier, 15, 20, 30 years ago type of not that far back, but yeah, I probably wouldn't play that one again or either. Either. John Denver at 155, Take Me Home. If I'm going to play a John Denver, it's going to be Thank God Thank God I'm a Country Boy. If somebody really wants it, this is a good song, no question about it. It's just not the energy that the others. Michael Bublé, Everything is great. Cocktail Time was where that I would put that one. You Can't Touch This from MC Hammer. Generally, if I'm playing Ice Ice Baby, someone's going to come up and request MC Hammer. That's just how those two go. Rock Your Body from Justin Timberlake. I just haven't had a ton of luck with that. Michael Jackson, Thriller, seasonal. If we're playing an October wedding, we got to play him. Al Green's Let's Stay Together, another classic Motown type song. Get Lucky from Daft Punk was about the time we were listening to Blurred Lines, all the time we were listening to Get Lucky. It was out there, and it was it's a good tune. Unforgettable, another great slow song that is used for first dances and it could be played as a special or just a slow dance during the night. Number 163 is the Electric Slide, another line dance one. Not as many people, they don't do this one as much because it's just, it's way old. But it's still, the dance is about the same as some of the other ones, so it's not that difficult. Bright and Young, in case you didn't know, country tune, No Scrubs from TLC. Let's see. Aretha Franklin at 166, Respect, older song. It's a great, this one would be a hook to come out, or you start a 50s, 60s type set coming into that 60s time frame, because the people who know it, the above 40 crowd should know it pretty well. Call Me Maybe, I think it's time is come and gone. So unless it's been requested, and I think we may see it come back again, because we're getting into that group that now was in junior high when that came out, and they're now getting into that late 20s, and they're going to be wanting to kind of rehash those days. So I think we may hear more of it, but it hasn't been, it had its time, and now it went away, and I think we may be starting to see that come back. Unchained Melody at 166, a great slow song. It's one of them that I play quite often in that set with Can't Help Falling in Love, What a Wonderful World, and this when I'm doing the older ones. Wake Me Up Before You Go, Wham! Like that one. 170, this is one I had to listen to. I've never played this one. Mark Ronson and Amy Winehouse at Valerie. I listened to it and I couldn't find any appeal to it, so maybe there's something I'm missing. Wouldn't be the first time. 171, The Middle from Jimmy Eat World, if requested, and I'd have to find out how I would utilize it. Four Seasons, December 1963. This is one I've heard a lot of DJs are using at the beginning of the night also to get that to open up the dance floor. Good tune. I've never played it that often, but I've DJ'd with a couple of guys who that's their first song of the night, and that's what they always play. Take Me Home Tonight from Eddie Money. I've heard DJs liking to use that one towards the end of the night because of the message of the song. I've dropped it in the latter part of the night. It's not early in the night, and it's a good tune. Tone Tonight, Dance Monkey. I've had that requested early. I've had it requested late, and it's so dorky that, if nothing else, I thought it was dorky. Whatever. 175, CCR with Proud Mary, earlier in the night, 70s tune. Good early 70s tune that crowd will sing along to. I don't think it's got as much legs today as it had 10 years ago, because that crowd that liked that tune is now getting old enough where dancing is going to be difficult. So it may not have what it had. Every Time We Touch, Cascada is a upbeat, another dance type tune. Lone Star, Amazed, slow song. Great Ballad was a lot of couples who were married, a number of years ago. This is probably their first dance song. So it's when you play it, you'll have people that it's like, you're playing our first dance song, man. Yeah. Ed Sheeran, Shape of You, upbeat tune. Wake Me Up from Avicii, Harry Styles, Watermelon Sugar, a newer song. Where you'd place these, that would be the tough ones on some of these newer ones. That's What I Like from Bruno Mars, Flo Rida Can Handle Me, Prince's Kiss at 184. Prince stuff is kind of tough because in Minnesota we can play more of it, and in some other markets you can play a little of it, and in some markets you just can't. It just doesn't work. Kiss seems to be one that can be played in a variety of different markets, but there are times when Doves Cry works better for us up here. However, Sean Paul's Temperature, good tune, kind of an upbeat thing. I don't play it very often. Sex on Fire. I've had that one requested a lot, and they've requested it like at the very end of the night. It's like, okay, we're gonna do our last song, and we played that one, within the last. Okay. Shania Twain, Any Man of Mine. For those few people who didn't like Man, I Feel Like a Woman. There it is. Body Like a Back Road, Sam Hunt went over huge on Saturday night. Lizzo Juice, what did I constantly? And Jonas Brothers Sucker. I think that one is an early in the night, kind of like Shut Up and Dance, where you'd play that one early in the night to kind of show that, hey, I've got this, with BTS's Butter, I've got, this and that. And then you've kind of established that you do play newer music, and then you can go back into some of your appealing to the older crowd. What is Love with Hathaway, I think, is kind of, it's something that they all think that everyone's going to get up together, kind of like you do with a Thriller. They did the Thriller thing, and I think with Hathaway, they're going to all just do that. And after 20 seconds of that, then that fun is over. My House from Flo Rida is probably one of my favorite Flo Rida songs. I will use that as a earlier one, and then Low later is typically how I would work that. Elton John, Your Song. I think Elton John's going to be making a more of an appearance on our charts or on our request list here for the next year or so. So just keep an eye out for that. Walker Hayes, Fancy Like, I think it's going to go way up, and I think that's going to be something we're going to be seeing as a country banger for a lot of us this year. Hooked on a Feeling from Blue Suede. Good tune from that movie, Guardians of the Galaxy type world. I think that you're going to have more of those coming out here as people are starting to get kind of back into watching some of the movies. Good song though. And then Fat Bottom Girls, Let's Groove. Earth, Wind and Fire's Let's Groove is actually, I've had that requested more than I've had September requested. So that's the list. I know it's kind of just a fly through. There's some good stuff here. Brian is with us tonight. Hey, Brian. I think Brian, when you and I get a chance, I want to go through and I want to talk about. We're going to go through the 80s and the 90s list here, and we're going to kind of compare and contrast how these are going to work. And Brian and I will talk about that and get our schedule. But I want to have that to be a conversation that he and I have, because I think that he's going to have some interesting insight into those, and why that one of those decades is probably going to be more stronger for you this year than the other one. And I want to make sure we have that discussion. So, gang, we got to wrap up here because we've got about 5 minutes, and then Dan and MJ and I will be back here on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/discjockeynews. And then coming up at 10 o'clock Eastern, Howie and the crew are going to be in the chill room at djntv.com/chill. Bounce out there, hang out with Howie and the gang, and they're going to have some fun tonight. And then we'll be back again covering some more music here, probably next week if it all works out. So again, thank you guys for watching. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. Okay.